Fire Fitness. Today's video, we're going to go through the 4 most commonly thrown punches in boxing, and then we're going to look at the primary shot, the jab, and we're going to go through the mechanics of throwing that jab, common faults, and look forward to the next video. Okay, so the governing body's training regime separates punches basically into 2 differentials, and they talk about straight shots, straight punches. So those are your lead hand straight shot and the rear hand straight shot. Old school trainers would have called this, and still do, the jab and the cross. The second differential, the second group of punches are called bent arm punches. So the bent arm punches are the ones that do what they say on a tin. They're the hooks and they're the uppercuts. Okay, so those are straight arm punches, bent arm punches. The most common punch in boxing, as we know, is the jab, followed by the cross, and then the hook, and then the uppercut. There are variations on all of those punches. For instance, the jab can be thrown to the head, the jab can be thrown to the body, the jab can be thrown in a combination, and it can be thrown as an offensive and defensive tactic. And with each of the punches we spoke about, there are variations on them, particularly the bent arm punches thrown at different ranges. With the straight arm punches, with the jab and cross, they're generally thrown and are more effective, most effective, at long range. Okay, so beginning with the first punch then, the jab. It's important to know that the jab is the boxer's primary weapon. This is the most important punch in boxing. If we look at some of the great jab exponents over the years, we're going to look at people like Larry Holmes and Sonny Liston. Boxers like that, look them up on YouTube and you'll see them, and they have fantastic, powerful jabs. Dominate the fight, dominate the range, hammer blows of shots, set it up, their combinations, setting up the rear hand. Okay, so this is the most important punch in boxing. Why is it the most important punch in boxing? Whether you're in the orthodox stance or in the southpaw stance, your front hand is the hand that is closest to the opponent. Therefore, it's the hand that has to travel the shortest distance to land on your target. It's also the boxer's primary weapon because it can be thrown for a multitude of reasons. So we might throw the jab as an offensive weapon. So we might throw it coming forward and pushing the opponent back, or we might throw it moving back to keep the opponent away. So it's an offensive and a defensive weapon. It's also used to set up the combinations. So you want to land this backhand. Throw your jab first to break through the opponent's guard, and then you drive through with the rear hand, the cross, to land a power punch. Likewise, it's thrown as the first punch in combinations of 3 or 4 punches. So we've got an offensive weapon, we've got a defensive weapon, and we've got a punch that sets up combinations. What we've also got is an effective measuring tool. So if it's early on in the fight and I haven't yet got my range, and the opponent's in front of me, and I poke my jab out, I can detect where exactly my opponent is and how close I am to him, and then I'll know exactly what I've got to do in order to land a punch. So I might throw that jab and I go, right, that's just falling short by an inch or so. I'll step in an inch, I know I'm in range, bang, I know I'm landing that shot, okay? So it's an effective tool, it's the most important punch in boxing. Right, okay, I'm going to demonstrate the jab thrown in fairly slow time from the front. From the side. From the rear. Okay, so that's the jab. You can see the jab being thrown there. So what am I doing? Well, I'm in my stance and on guard position. Knees are nicely bent, hands are up, elbows are in, chin's down. Okay, I want to throw my jab. Every single punch we throw starts from the feet. Everything drives the power from the ground, up through the body, through the trunk, into the shoulders, and then the arm delivers the punch. The arm isn't punching, isn't actually the weapon, okay? The power comes up through the body and is delivered through the arm rather than with the arm. And so, in the stance and on guard position, we're going to take a slight push off of that back foot, which in turn is going to rotate our hips in line with the opponent, which in turn is going to rotate our trunk and our shoulders in line with the opponent. And as that rotation's taking place, the shot's coming out, and then as it lands on the target, it's turned over, lands on the target, and then returns to the stance and on guard position. So it looks like this. Push through the back foot. Hips rotate in line with the opponent. Trunk rotates in line with the opponent. Shoulders rotate in line with the opponent. Shot comes out, shot lands. Shot comes back to the stance and on guard position. Okay? That's the jab. Common faults with this shot are it's thrown as an arm punch. So there's not actually any rotation taking place. There's not actually any power being drawn up from the floor through the body. Get absolutely no power into that. It's thrown and the fist is turned over too quickly, which makes the elbow flare, which enables your opponent to see the shot coming before it's en route. It gives them a chance to take some defensive action to move away from that shot. So the elbow's tucked in. The shot comes out and turns over at the last moment. Another common fault with this shot is you might throw it perfectly, lands on the target, and then it comes back as a lazy return, leaving all of this area here open, and then eventually to the stance and on guard position, or possibly even worse, it's thrown and it comes back down to here. Okay, we'll see professional fighters and experienced amateurs doing this all the time, but they've already been in the position that we're getting to, the position where we're throwing the shot perfectly and we're recovering it straight away back to the stance and on guard position. This is where we want to be. Okay, if we want to fight with our hands down, we'll get there eventually, right? Because these people have been through the stages we're at now. Okay, so those are the common faults. That was the means in which to throw the shot, and those are the shots that are the most common in boxing. Okay, Through Fire Fitness, Dave Waterman, that's the jab.